Tony, let me ask you this question. When you look at the Jets right now as a whole, with a young quarterback like Sam Darnold, Jamal Adams, I mean, the back and forth banter right now, he wants this big contract, and where the Jets are heading with a great GM like Joe Douglas, with the great draft that they had, what do you think the Jets are going to do moving forward this season?
To tell you the truth, it's I think the balance of power. Well, you can kind of say the balance of power kind of shifted because that guy who wore that number 12, who was our nemesis for all those years, has moved on. But then now we have two Auburn quarterbacks down with the Patriots. But I like the Jets. It's one of those things, and I'm not saying it because I'm a homer, but I really like the structure in which the way they're building the team. I like Joe Douglas. Eric and I both had opportunities to sit down with him. We love his thought process. We like how he is going to build through the draft, building through free agency, obviously re-signing the main guys. And you start talking about, Jamal and that's the thing about it. You get all of a sudden you're like, I want to be paid. I want to be paid. Then you see this $500 million contract. He's not backing down, and nor should he. He's a generational talent, a guy who can pretty much do it all. And obviously Eric can speak on that better than me since he's on the defensive side of the ball. But he's a tone setter, and when you put him out on the field, I don't care if you could put him in the box at linebacker. You could rush him off the edge. You could play him deep. He can cover. So everything. He's a guy that's gonna set the tone for your defense. I like that. I like that team a lot. Sam Darnold. I've been watching him on Instagram. He's getting after it. He looks better than ever. Obviously, the third year for a quarterback is when they really come into their own. You got weapons now. There's really no excuse. There's no excuse but now to go out and perform. Only excuse. It's not even an excuse because obviously we know how serious COVID is. But I think COVID is probably going to be the only thing that's going to prohibit the Jets, I think, from having a good year.
Well, T. Rich, I know that you are a director for the NFL Legends community. You do a lot of great things for former players, but you're in that building. You're in the NFL building. What are you hearing in regards to where we're going to go for this upcoming season? Is there going to be a season? Are there going to be fans allowed? What have you been hearing?
The thing about it, Eric, is I think you're hearing it and we're hearing it and we all hear it at the same time. Like, literally, I was on a phone call and I just happened to pop on. I was talking to my buddy, JK, Jeremy Kelly from Buffalo. Yeah. And I was on a call with him in the morning time. Next thing you know, we turned on ESPN and it was like, oh, the NFL just canceled the first two preseason games. I was like, wait a minute, what? Like, they didn't even, like, but then I found out that that's not even in ink yet. That's something that leaked and it's something that they were negotiating. So we don't know if there's going to be four preseason games, two preseason games, no preseason game, some fans, no fans. And so I think right now it's just kind of, and unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately for the NFL, everything still went on as planned. Free agency still kicked off. A lot of people were like, that's a little bit insensitive. I kind of felt the same way. Like all of a sudden you're telling all these people you don't have a job, you don't have work. And then you turn on the TV and this guy signs for $50 million. This guy is $80 million. And you sit here like, man, I'm trying to keep my lights on. So I did think that was a little bit much, but then obviously still having free agency, still having the draft. Off season's been a little bit different. Training camp's supposed to start here in a week or so. So I think right now just watching and seeing what other leagues are going to be able to do, see how the bubble works for basketball, see how baseball works, see how hockey works. I'm a huge UFC fan. I'm going to be in front of the TV tonight. UFC's done it the right way, no fans. And so I think we'll be, man, I tell you the truth, if we get more than 15% fans in the stadium this year, I would be very surprised.
I'll tell you this, T. Rich, you better not tell me you're a Conor McGregor fan.
I like the Conor McGregor walk, though. I don't think I can quite do it.
That's the Vince McMahon walk. That's Vince McMahon. That's not Conor's walk.
Well, he kind of like, he kind of took it and ran with it. But, to tell you the truth, the last Conor McGregor fight, I was pulling for him just because that was the first time he wasn't talking junk prior to the fight. He wasn't like showboating his opponent. He did give you the little walk a little bit afterwards. But outside of that, he came into the ring ready to fight and he laid it on the line and he walked out like a champ. So, some of the tactics, I'm not, I'm an old school guy. When you score a touchdown, you just hand the ball back to the referee. I'm not going to be doing a kick worm or doing my dad would jump out of the stands, be a military man if I was doing anything like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All week long, it's been like UFC. I think they're in Abu Dhabi. Mm-hmm. Saturday night, we had a great fight. Wednesday, we had some great fights. Tonight, we have some great fights. And it's crazy. I'm a huge UFC fan now.
As you guys know, we are talking to ex-New York Jet and Kansas City Chief fullback, Tony Richardson.
Yeah, T. Rich. So, we talked about COVID. We talked about the NFL coming back. Can we talk about what else you have going on? Are you I know you're a big cycling advocate, yoga advocate. What are you doing to stay active during these troubling times?
The biggest thing, and it's funny because my parents just like my parents worry about you, and my dad was just like, "Son, what are you doing? You got to get out of the house." I've been literally just been in isolation mode. I think the best thing that kind of helped me is having having a dog, because he forced me to get up in the morning. Because there's some days, man, it feels like, especially living in New York City, I'm not down in beautiful Florida where you got the beaches, you got the water, you can go outside. Like, dude, in New York, it was like a war zone. I mean, and knock on, and obviously a shout out to all our first responders and the nurses and the doctors and everyone who was on that front line. But for a while, man, it was like, because we didn't know. It was just like, man, can you go outside? Things are slowly starting to open back up. So from an activity standpoint, I'm still riding my bike, going outside, running with Rambo in the morning, doing yoga.
Rambo?
My
Rambo?
dog's named Rambo. Yeah, he's a tripod, man. Hey, don't you better put some respect on Rambo.
Oh yeah.
I'm a Rambo fan. I'm a Rambo fan. I am.
Rambo's a tripod, so I rescued him from Egypt. So he only has 3 legs. But I ain't gonna say only has 3 legs. He has 3 legs. And Rambo's like, no. He said, don't cheat on my 3 legs, even though you got 4. Other dogs be looking at him. You're trying to size him up. Rambo ain't about that life. He said, I'm not about it. So, but anyway, man, just staying active, man. And I tell you, if I didn't, I think just having a dog. If not, I think the walls really would have start, closing in, because it's like, I have great neighbors, and, we'll go up on the roof. Now we're able to go up on the roof, and we're able to just, like we have a pizza party last night. We're able to go and just have the activities, see some face to face. But for the most part, man, it's just been in the house. And like I said, my apartment is cleaner than it's ever been. I probably threw away so much. We get so much. I mean, bags of like Nike this, Nike that. And it's like, man, if I put that shirt on, I'm gonna look like a homeless person. That shirt's the 2XL. I can't do that 2XL no more. I mean, I'm in the skinny jeans. And so, but yeah, man, just cleaning up and organizing my life and just getting things back on track. So it's been pretty cool.
Tony, what is your thoughts to this whole Washington Redskins? I guess you could
Washington football team.
I'm
you
sorry.
Say that.
Washington football team. This whole scandal going on right now with Daniel Snyder. He's not a popular owner right now in the NFL. He hasn't been a popular owner in the NFL. Yeah. What is your thoughts to this story that just came out?
Interesting enough, it was crazy because I think a lot of people were sitting on the edge of their chair like, there's a big bombshell. There's a big bombshell. We're waiting for some news. And when it dropped, it's just like, it's one of those things that someone actually asked me this question. Do you think that something like this could happen in all 32 NFL teams? And I said, just to be honest, I think it could, because sometimes there's teams who have a great culture and just say, because we had the situation with the Jets, like what you guys remember, where we had Ianez Sanchez, we had the cat calling, we had to go through sensitivity training and all of that stuff. And it's all of a sudden, it's just like, it's a high testosterone environment, and guys make noise and different things like that. And that was something I even had to learn once you did that sensitivity training of how you talk to people. Like, you can say, hey, Eric, you look nice today. But if I say, hey, Eric, you look nice today, like, you got to be super careful. And that's the thing we're learning. And that's the thing about it. You got to take these allegations very seriously. You have to understand that this is a work environment, and to kind of dial it back a little bit. I was watching Michael Strahan. He did this thing on, I think it was Good Morning America. And they had a panel of about 3 or 4 people, and then they had the whole audience. And it was so much so that women nowadays, and even men in their 20s, the millennials, they don't ever want to be commented on how they look. Like, for me, being a Southern gentleman, like, I might say, hey, ma'am, that's a nice red blouse you're wearing. They don't want any of that. So it's one of those things that we gotta evolve. This is 2020. The days of like commenting and like, oh, that's a nice skirt. You can't say that anymore. You got to be like, hey, good job, or something like that. You can't even comment on people's clothes and different things like that. So it's going to be interesting when all this stuff, kind of comes to light, and just see what the culture was. And I can't speak on it because I've never been in you almost got me. I've never been in a Washington football uniform. So
stop. I always look at it because I can't name the team. I thought they were going to come out with a name a couple of days ago, and they still haven't come out with a name. Now you're hearing all these speculations with the team. Now there's some owners say that Daniel Snyder should sell his team. I mean, there's so much going on right now in the NFL, and the Washington Redskins are in the middle of everything right now.
Yeah, they really are. I was watching this guy. He was on ABC yesterday. The guy who owns 60 patents. Like, who? I want to be that guy. So he literally bought all 60 patents, and now, and basically he said, "I'll give it to you for free, but you got to make a donation to charity or something." But of course, if I own 60 patents and they all line up with something you want, yeah, I'm gonna come. I'm coming swinging. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, T. Rich, just along the lines of the Washington Football Club, their mascot and their name.
Yeah.
What about the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cleveland Indians?
Yeah.
Do you feel that these teams need to change their name as well, or is it less offensive when you look at the Chiefs and the Indians and things like that?
Yeah, and the same thing with the Florida State. Like growing up, I was a huge Seminole fan, and obviously they had the chop. And so it's one of those things. I think it's having people sit down at the table and having those conversations. Because if they had a thing, the Kansas City, blacks or something like that, that would be offensive to me because that's part of my culture. So I think sitting down with Native Americans and just say, is this offensive to you? And if it is, we'll make the change. And I think that's where we are as a country now, just understanding, I'm looking out my window and I see Black Lives Matter signs in my neighbor's window. I've seen the marches up and down my street. I drive up Fifth Avenue. When you get back to the city, bro, you're not even gonna recognize it. Like Fifth Avenue is still boarded up. I was just in the city yesterday. Soho looks like a bomb went off. It's still, things are still boarded up, more homeless people on the streets. But it's one of those things, it's woken America up and understanding like all lives matter, Black lives matter. Now there's a voice, and I think there's a movement that's being made. And I think that, people are finally open to sit down and having these real conversations and saying, you know what, when you say certain words, they are very offensive. When you look at me a certain way because the color of my skin, and you never, classic examples, we could probably go about this all day long. It's like, oh, where'd you go to college? I went to Auburn. Did you graduate? I'm like, what? Did you graduate? Like, what do you think I just went there to play? I said, no, my dad was in the military. Yes, I graduated high school. I graduated college, and I do have an MBA. So please don't ask me did I graduate just because I'm an athlete and I'm African American. So I think to sit down and having these conversations and understanding what words are offensive, what gestures are offensive, because at Tomahawk Chalk, I think the Atlanta Braves are talking about maybe getting rid of it. Maybe Florida State thinking about it. Chiefs, like, if it's something to honor Native Americans, I think keep it. If not, then we need to get rid of it and start changing the dialogue.
Before we let you go, Tony, why don't you tell all the fans or give a shout out to anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
I'm giving a shout out to my man E. Cole. That's he hit me up, and that's the thing about it, man. You talk about the way football brings people together is amazing. It's one of those things, like Eric and I actually never played together, but when a brother calls you and say, hey man, I need you, guess what? You get up in the morning. I woke up, I set my alarm, my eyes open, Alexa said, get up. And I was like, no, I don't want to get up. Today's Saturday. But you do that because you know what? If I need my brother, if I ever need E. Cole, he's going to be there. That NFL brotherhood is something very, very special. And it becomes closer. I have a brother that lives probably 45 minutes away from E. Cole. He lives in Miramar, Florida. And I have all my families up and down the coast of Florida. And I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters. And I think I'm closer to some of my NFL family than I am my own brothers, just because I spend, especially when the season's rolling, I see E. Cole more than I see my dog Rambo. You know what I mean? I live with Rambo. But that's the thing about it. That's what that brotherhood's about. It's always about having each other's back. So I'm going to give my shout out today to E. Cole, because I see him, like he said, man, when this thing hit, when I'm packing the family up, they booked up out of here. They down in South Florida. E. Cole lifting all the weights. He's winning. I said, dude, you won, man. You won it. You won. You can't get no more muscles.
1,000 push-ups. 1,000 push-ups. I watched his Instagram. This guy doing 1,000 push-ups.
Hey, I'm going to be back up there soon, my brother.
Hey, tell him about that Murph. That Murph is no joke. I done it one time and I thought I was going to die.
Oh, that Murph, man. That it's a whole nother level. It's mental, it's physical, it's
all of it.
And shout out to Murphy, man. That was that's an amazing workout. I love it.
The hardest part is running with that vest on, like the air squats with the vest, all that stuff, the pull-ups. But when you get that mile with that vest on, that's real.
Oh my goodness. The vest is never comfortable. It's rattling around. It's tough.
That's when that gorilla jump off that goalpost in the fourth quarter. You're like, the monkey's on my back.